So, by the way, this is number 5. Section number 5, qualification of board members. So, dapat citizen siya and residents of Philippines and at least 30 years of age and of good moral character. Then graduate of civil engineering, of course. Then registered civil engineer sa Philippines. Then practiced civil engineering not less than 10 years prior to appointment. Also, dapat dili siya member of the faculty or institution nga nag-offer og civil engineering. And at the same time, dapat niundang na sad siya og tudlo sa civil engineering sa institution for at least 3 consecutive years. Then section number 6. Section number 6, under Article 2 gihapon, fees and compensation of the board. Itong ilasdan kay lain na sa color. So for fees, 100 pesos for every application for examination. Money siya. Magbayad na sila ana. And then also 50 pesos for every certificate of registration. Kaya mga tiguwang naman ni sila or ibutan talang daghan naman ni sila mga na-attain sa ilahang profession, dili lang kay civil engineering certificate ang naa nila. So daghan sad. Then ang compensation, maka-get sila og 15 pesos sa every applicant. Every member sad. So each member will receive 15 pesos from each applicant nga mo examine, mo take sa exam. And then also, each member shall receive a salary grade based on government compensation and qualification. So, mga supervisor and managerial ang ilahang mga salary grade. I'm not really sure kung pila gid ilang salary grade. Then, last one, all authorized expenses shall be reimbursed by the PRC in accordance to the appropriation of the commission. So, tanan nga ilang mga nagasto, official nga gasto para sa office nila sa ilahang term kay ma-reimburse according sa appropriations bill nga nahimo sa commission or the PRC. Then number 7, section number 7, they're going to make an annual report. So the board shall, at the end of the fiscal year, submits to the PRC a detailed report of its activities and proceedings during the period covered by the fiscal year ended. So, mostly sa ilahang mga activities kay motap sila sa PICE. So, motap sila sa activities sa PICE, national, dayon local, o even sa mga student chapters. So, ilara nang i-collect tanan nga mga activities and then ila na din na siyang i-bid book or ibutan na lang ibutan nilang book. So, inana ka simple ang ilang buhaton. Then, let's proceed to Article 3 for the examination and registration. So, for Section 8, examination requirement. So, unsa may requirement ani? All applicants for registration for the practice of civil engineering shall be required to pass a technical examination. So, kanang CE board exam nga i-conduct twice a year. So, November and May. And then, they're also going to hold the examination. Section number 9, holding of examination. So, examinations shall be conducted in the cities of Manila, Baguio, Cagayan de Oro, Cebu, Davao, Iloilo, Legazpi, Lucena, Tacloban, Tuguegarao, and Zamboanga, provided that such days do not fall on official holidays. So sometimes sa May nga exam, whenever matunong og May 1 kay ilang next or i-proceed nila sa next nga week nga dili lang ma-fall og holiday. So kasagaran naa sa May 1 or naa sa May ang interruption, wala sa November. Then section number 10. Ang section number 10 is the subjects of examination. I know you're familiar already with this sa subjects. So this is for the CECC1. So mathematics, surveying, and transportation engineering. Then CECC2, the HGE or the hydraulics and geotechnical engineering. And then the CECC3, which is the structural engineering and construction. So I know you're already familiar with this one. So di lang na ako i-elaborate kay mag-goal niya mo. Joke. Okay, article number 3 gihapon ta. Section number 11. So, executive officer of the board. So, kinsa man yung mga executive officer ani nila? The PRC shall be the executive officer of the board. So, sila ang facilitating body para sa aside sa members of the board and the chair kay dili nila makaya tanan pag supervise sa mga buhaton sa civil engineering activities, examinations, and preparations. So manginahanglan sila og help from the rank and file ng mga employees sa PRC. Then the PRC shall conduct the examination given by the board. So akong mga nahibawan kay every examiner kay mag-prepare, mag-make sila every exam og 500 items, 500 questions ni ilan ang ibutang sa memory bank mo na akong nahibawan. So ilang i-select ingana, then ilang i-give sa PRC. Then the PRC designate a secretary and custodian of records kay para sa exam papers, minutes of the deliberation of the board. Nganong na may minutes of the deliberation of the board? Kay sometimes manggod ang uban nga mga examinees pananglitan wala nakit-an during sa application nga naday sayop ang iyahang birth certificate or ubat pa, so gihold sa ang iyahang result mo nang i-deliberate sa board kung i-honor or i-grant ba ang iyahang result or i-fail na lang siya para sa next na lang, para at least ma-work niya ang iyahang kanang mga lapses or nasayop sa iyahang application. So if ever man gani ma-okay ang decision sa board, then ang buhaton is ang applicant tarungon niya ang mga requirements before ma-issue sa iyahang certificate. Just like what happens sa akong friend. And then section number 12, qualifications for examination. So dapat makatake ka at least 21 years old. Dili ka pwede mo take nga less than or younger than 21. Pero I have seen someone nga ni-take sa exam nga dili 21, mga 20 something, like months pa before siya maka 21. Pero gipatake gyapon siya, but ang iyahang result, since nakapasar man siya, wala gihatag ang certificate until naabot siya og 21 years old. Dito nag-release. And then certificate or citizen of the Philippines. So later on, na ako hisgutan aning citizen of the Philippines. Kay naani siya sa miscellaneous nga provisions. And then good reputation and moral character. Kasi may dili good, diba? And then graduate of civil engineering from a school, institute, college, or university recognized by the government or state wherein it is established. So, mo na yung mga requirements para mo-qualify ka sa examination. Then, mo gihapon article number 3, section 13. So, this is oath of civil engineers. So, ang buhaton lang is all successful candidates in the examination shall be required to take a professional oath before the Board of Civil Engineers or other government officials authorized to administer oaths prior to entering upon the practice of civil engineering profession. So, if so happen, dili ka take oath kanang facilitated by the Board of Civil Engineers, then you may ask the service of an attorney nga pwede ka mo take oath in front sa attorney. So, pwede ra na siya. Although, mahal-mahal siya. Kay karaw sa. And then, section number 14. Seal and use of seal. So, unsa man ni siya? All registered civil engineers shall obtain a seal of such design as the board shall authorize and direct, provided, however, that the serial number of the certificate issued by the board shall be included in the design of the seal. Plans and specifications prepared by or under the direct supervision of a registered civil engineer shall be stamped with said seal during the life of the registrant's certificate, and it shall be unlawful for anyone to stamp or seal any documents with said seal after the certificate of registrant name thereon has expired or has been revoked, unless said certificate shall have been renewed or reissued. So, ang paggamit sa seal, kay makita yun nato siya sa mga bidding documents, sa mga plans nga atong gi-make para sa building. So, whenever kanang expired na gali ang imong certificate of registration, then of course imong i-renew. So, that's the time nga pwede na nimo ma-stamp ang imong seal. Pero kung di gani, like na-stamp na nimo dayon na-expire na dai ka, like unconsciously, so ang buhaton nimo is di sa nimo i-submit sa governing body like the OBO ang katong document unless na nakay certification nga na-issue nga na-renew na nimo ang imong license. So okay lang. Then section number 15, the exemption from registration. So kinsa may pwede ma-exempt di ay? So registration shall not be required of the following persons. Number 1, officers or enlisted men of the United States and Philippine Armed Forces and civilian employees of the government of the U.S. stationed in the Philippines while rendering civil engineering services for the U.S. and or the Philippines. So, mo ni sila ang mga veterans of war sa U.S. katong World War II. Then, number 2, civil engineers or experts called by the Philippine government for consultation or specific design and construction of fixed structures, provided that their practice shall be limited to such work. So, kinsa man ni sila? So, mga guest nato nga mga civil engineers, no, like mo conduct sila og mga foreign nga mga civil engineers nga mo conduct og seminars, training diri sa Philippines. So, they need not to have the registration from the PRC. as long as mao gyud na ilang tumong og tuyo. So for number 2, you have any person residing in the Philippines may make plans on specifications for any of the following. Number 1, any building in chartered cities or in towns with building ordinances not exceeding the space requirement requiring the services of a civil engineer. So, dili na kinahanglan og registration. So, actually dagan kina diri sa Cebu or in the Philippines dagan kayo. Then also kani siya any wooden building enlargement or alteration which is to be used for farm purposes only and costing not more than 10,000 pesos. So dili na siya kinahanglan i-register kana nga structure. And then last one, any person who wants to construct his own residential house utilizing the services of a person or persons, mga skilled workers, like foreman, masons, steelman, laborer. So as long as ang iyang purpose kay pang civil engineering, but dapat dili mo violate sa local ordinances or building code. So dagan kayong mga kuan. I know dili kita familiar sa building code kay naata sa NSCP or National Structural Code of the Philippines. So kasagaran nga mga professionals na familiar kayo sa building codes kay mga architects. Pero kita, of course, sa experiences na to pohon, we'd be able to get acquainted with the different city and kanang building codes. Then section number 15 mao gihapon sa exemption from registration. Nor shall prevent draftsmen, student, clerk, or work superintendents and other employees from acting under the instruction, control, and supervision of their employer. So, pwede gyapon na sila makapractice. Kay ilang employer, of course, ilang employer dapat registered gid na, no? I mean, ilang employer kay na ay firm registered dayon na a civil engineer. Maybe ang imong employer or maybe somebody nga kanang partner sa imong employer. And then also, nor shall any person who prior to the approval of this act have been lawfully engaged in the practice of maestro de obras to continue as such, provided that they shall not undertake the making of plans, supervision for the following classes of work. So, mga maestro de obras, skilled workers. So, pwede gyapon na sila ana. Pero dili sila pwede sa building of concrete, whether reinforced or not, then building of more than 2 stories, and then building with frames or of structural steel, and then this one, building of structures intended for public gathering or assembles, such as theaters, cinematographs, stadia, churches, or structures of like nature. And then for the last one, nor shall prevent professional architects and engineers to practice their professions. So, pwede gyapon mag-supervise ang mga architects and other engineers sa construction. Of course, it's evident man sad sa mga construction sites right now. Excuse me. Then section number 16. Refusal to issue certificate. So, what are the bases? Board shall not issue a certificate to a person convicted by a court of competent jurisdiction of any criminal offense involving moral turpitude. And then also, board shall not issue certificate to any person guilty of immoral and dishonorable conduct. Then the board shall not issue certificate to any person guilty of unsound mind. And then, in case of refusal, the board shall give the applicant a written statement setting forth its reason for not issuing a certificate. And then, Section 17, suspension and revocation of certificates. So, the board shall have the power, after due notice and hearings, to suspend or revoke the certificate of registration for any cause mentioned in the previous section. So, for example, naka-violate ka to certain civil laws, and then you were found guilty, or in the middle of your kanang career life, kay you were proven nga you're not healthy sa imong mind, so ilang i-revoke ang imong license. So, suspension. So, section number 18, reissue and replacement of certificates. So, a board may entertain an applicant or application for a new certificate of registration from the registrant concerned after the expiration of 1 year from the date of certificate of registration is revoked for any reason it may be deemed sufficient. So, katong mga na-suspend or na-revoke, pwede sa to siya register balik. Pero after 1 year sa katong pagpa-revoke sa iyahang registration, so dito pa siya pwede maka-apply. And then, ang next nga statement here kay such application shall be accomplished in the same prescribed for examination. So balik ka og exam, then get ka og mga documents. Pero the board may exempt you from taking the examination. So depende sa ilahang deliberation kung pabalikon ba kang take sa exam or dili na lang. And then section number 19, this one, transitory provisions. Kaning transitory provisions kay ang law na enact, and then previous sa pag-make sa law na may mga existing professions or professionals. So, unsa may tabo ato nila, mo ni siya. Any person desiring to practice civil engineering shall be required to obtain certificate of registration. So, kinahanglan siya mo take sa exam. Kay desire pa siya sa pag-practice sa civil engineering. Pero, katong all civil engineers duly licensed under Act 2985, katong kinaunhan nga civil engineering law, ay butan na to, engineer and architect law. So, mo ni siya ang Act 2985. Kay mahimong automatic civil engineer gyapon sila. And then, all graduates of civil engineering from a school, institute, college, or university recognized by the government who have passed civil service examination for senior civil engineer, kay ma-automatically mahimong civil engineer under RA number 544. Pero during that time, dapat naka 5 years na siya sa duty, trabaho, nag-practice sa civil engineering. Then, article number 4. So, this is enforcement of act and penal provisions. So, section number 20. Enforcement of the act by officers of the law. So, kinsa man ang maka-enforce ani? Of course, kay bao na ta kinsa kaning mga police, PNP, kaning lawyers, mga prosecutors. So, sila ang mag-enforce sa law. Sila ang atong mga watchers. And then section number 21, registration required. So no person shall practice or offer the practice or offer to practice civil engineering in the Philippines without having obtained a proper certificate of registration from the Board of Civil Engineers, unless exempted from the registration. So, unless exempted from the registration, meaning katong sa transitory provisions, katong tulo ka buok. And then, section number 22, penal provisions. So, any person who misinterpret or misrepresent rather himself to the board shall be guilty of misdemeanor and shall be sentenced to a fine not less than 500 pesos or more than 2,000 pesos, or to suffer imprisonment for a period of not less than 6 months or not more than 1 year, or kung di man gani ang duha, no, pa-fine pa siya and at the same time masud pa siya sa prisuhan. So depende sa court. That's penal provision. And then article number 5, this is the miscellaneous provisions. So section number 23, preparation of plans and supervisions of construction by registered civil engineer. So plans and designs of structures must be approved by law and or ordinance of a city or province or municipality where the structure is to be constructed. And then section number 24, practice of civil engineer and architect. So the practice of civil engineering is a professional service, admission to which must be determined upon individual personal qualifications. So hence, no firm, partnership, corporation, or association may be registered or licensed as such for the practice of civil engineering. So dili tanan nga firm makahimo og firm or partnership nga pwede mo render og civil engineering service. But provided, however, that the person properly registered and licensed as civil engineer may among themselves sa katong nag-makes a firm or with a person or persons properly registered and licensed as architects, or form and obtain registration of a firm, partnership, or association using the term engineers or engineers and architects. But nobody shall be a member or partner of such firm or partnership or association unless he is duly licensed civil engineer or architect. And the members who are civil engineers shall only render work and services proper for a civil engineer. Then katong architect sad proper nga ma-render niya as an architect as defined by the law regulating the practice of architecture. Then individual members of such firms, partnership, or association shall be responsible for their own respective acts. So dili tanan makatukod og firm nga walay civil engineer or architect kay pwede na mo render og civil engineering service. Ang buhaton is if ganahan ka mo make og firm nya dili ka civil engineer, make sure nga ang imong partner or imong kauban sa corporation at least usa nila kay civil engineer or architect para ma-register ang imong company sa Security and Exchange Commission para sa imuhang ma-render sa imong firm. That's section number 24. Then section number 25, reciprocity requirements. So no person who is not citizen of the Philippines at the time he applies to take the examination shall be allowed to take it unless he can prove in the manner provided by the rules of court that by specific provision of law the country of which he is a citizen, subject, or national either admits citizens of the Philippines to the practice of the same profession without restriction, or allows them to practice if they're after an examination on terms of strict and absolute equality with citizens, subjects, or nationals of the country concerned, including the unconditional recognition of degrees issued by the institutions of learning duly recognized for the purpose of the government of the Philippines. So, if ever na dili Philippine national, dili sa siya citizens of Philippines, wanted to practice diri civil engineering or civil engineer nga discipline, ang buhatan niya is mangita siya sa katong iyahang certification nga naay kanang agreement from both states. So sa imuhang origin o sa imuhang place nga praktisan. So kasagaran ani kay, for example, mga Filipinos working abroad in Dubai, and then some of the kanang people there in Dubai kay nagwork sa diri. So still maka-render gyapon ta sa ato ang same nga services as a civil engineer, pero dili ta necessarily mo kuha og registration from the government, from the commissioner, or from the commission dito nila. So usahay sad kaning ingon aning nga mga situation kay naman tay mga Filipino citizen pero ang ilahang last name kay foreign, no? So ang buhaton ana kay pangayuan ka o birth certificate nga ikaw usa ka Filipino. So mora na buhaton whenever ang imong name kay Chinese, imong last name, no? I have kanang seen it dito sa PRC katong nagpadung kog take sa exam. So nami nakadungan nga Chinese nga iyang apelyido. So ang requirement kay magda siya og birth certificate nga Filipino siya. Mora. The number 26. Section number 26. Roster of civil engineers. So roster of civil engineers, listahan sa mga civil engineers sa Philippines. So magbuhat or mag-make o inani nga file ang PRC para sa civil engineers, and then iyang i-give sa mayor sa respective cities if necessary, if kinahanglan. So if mangayo sa tagaan, so ilang tagaan ang different agencies sa government, primarily ang DPWH. So mora. And then section number 27, repeal. So all laws, parts of laws, orders, ordinances, or regulations in conflict with the provisions hereof, including parts of the Act number 2985 as amended as pertains to the practice of civil engineering, are hereby repealed. So pwede ito sila mabalik. And then except the provisions of Act number 3159. So kani nga act kay kani siya, based sa akong na research, this is an act providing San Miguel, Bulacan an emergency hospital. Kay daghan silang gi pang recruit ato nga time nga mga skilled workers. Gamay walay dili daghang civil engineers. Since ma-fall under man ang mga maestro de obras or mga skilled workers sa katong transitory nga provision, so mo nang ilang gi-exempt ni siya nga Republic Act 3159. So only Republic Act 2985 ang ilahang gi-acknowledge nga pwede ma-dala as civil engineer. Then section number 28, construction of act. So If any part or section of this act shall be declared unconstitutional, such declaration shall not invalidate the other provisions hereof. So, ang buhaton lang, if there are unconstitutional nga mga makita sa mga tig-approve sa law or sa act, then ang buhaton is ilang i-amend. Dili nila i-revoke ang act, kundi i-amend lang ang part or ang section, maybe ang katong nga gamay nga portion sa section ang ilang i-amend ya i-resubmit. Same gihapon nga law, but nanay amendments meaning mga changes sa iyahang mga provisions. And then section number 29, effectivity. So this act shall take effect upon its approval from the president, of course, after 3 hearings from the lower house to the Senate until maabot sa executive department. So that ends